Nobody tells you this, but if you're constantly overwhelmed, the problem might not be you. It might just be your life. I spent so many years trying to handle life, but really, I needed to build a different kind of life. If that sounds familiar to you, grab yourself a nice cup of tea, because today we're going to talk deep, we're going to talk real, and we're going to talk about building a life that doesn't overwhelm us. My whole life, I have rarely struggled fitting into society, and I've constantly found myself getting overwhelmed, stressed, and burnt out to the point where I just can't function at all. I have big time mental health issues, I have breakdowns. I've even been to the hospital one time because my mental health got so low. I feel a lot of the time like I'm an animal who's been taken out of his natural habitat and put into a society that I just can't cope with. So the biggest push came for me is when I finally got my degree and I went to work full time. And I was on great money. From the outside, it looked amazing. I had got my dream job, the thing I'd studied for most of my life. But I just got so burnt out and overwhelmed. And I had a mental breakdown because I just couldn't keep up with the pressure of the job, the stress of the job, because I'm very easily overwhelmed and stressed. I have a very, very sensitive nervous system, and I'm just not cut out for a lot of jobs in this world. The whole rat race in general, I often think I can't do it. I can't be a part of it because it just drains my nervous system so much, and I burn out. I've constantly compared myself to others and looked at other people in society and thought, I can't keep up with you. I don't know where you get all your energy from. I see these people working full-time jobs, getting up early to rush into the city 5 days a week. They've got gym in the morning. They're taking their kids to parties on the weekend and doing all this crazy stuff. And I've always compared myself to these people. And there's a lot of people like this. I don't know if they're all coping, but I've always thought, how the hell do you have the energy and energy to do all this stuff? Even working full-time for me just seems like just too much. I finally realized that I wasn't failing at life. I was trying to live a life that wasn't suited to me. When it comes to building a life that doesn't overwhelm you, I believe that one of the most important things is to accept that this is who you are. You have a more sensitive nervous system than other people do, and you need a slower, calmer way of living. And this is the big shift that changed the way I looked at my life and allowed me quite a lot of healing, to be honest, because for a long time I've been forcing myself to be someone I'm not. I really got into a lot of Taoism and Zen Buddhism, and they always say in that you can't force yourself up the river, you should flow with the river. And because we're highly sensitive people, that's our nature. We can't change that. So it's much more easier and more beneficial to you if you flow down the river and follow your strengths and realize there's just some things you can't do and some environments that aren't for you. Life has become a lot better and a lot easier for me when I've just gone with the flow and realized this is how I'm wired, and there's just certain things about me that I can't change. I've started flowing downstream rather than fighting upstream. A huge part of building a life that doesn't overwhelm you is finding work and a job that doesn't burn you out and rarely drain your nervous system. This is something I've struggled with my whole life, and I still struggle as an adult to accept that we need money to survive. Because if it was up to me, I would like to just sit in the woods or sit at the beach and just be in the calm environment and listen to the sounds of nature, because I'm very easily pleased and don't need a lot in this life to be happy. But like I said, we have to unfortunately make a bit of money, and I really struggle to accept that sometimes, because a lot of work environments are just the most soul-crushing, awful places to be in. And it is really, really important for us as highly sensitive people to find an environment and job that can suit us. And I think a lot of the time this involves going off the beaten path to find something that really suits us. It's something I'm really struggling with right now too, because I'm really trying to give YouTube a shot. I really would like the lifestyle of making content and helping people with their mental health and wellness. and it's something that I think would work very well for my nervous system because I have a lot of autonomy. I can be at home, I can take little walks and little breaks in the day, and I don't have this chaotic, busy office environment with all these KPIs and deadlines that have burnt me out in the path. So that's kind of where I'm going right now. Even though my channel is very small, it's really what I want to do. I've always had a deep desire to help people and connect deeply with people. So this is a way I can kind of marry those two things. And the thing as well with highly sensitive people, I found a lot of the time we crave meaning and purpose out of our job. So at the moment I left my full-time job. I'm really trying to give YouTube a go, and I'm trying to do some mentoring and counseling on the side, just because I can have more autonomy over my time. I can pick hours and I can work when my nervous system is regulated and ready to go. I rarely find that rigid work schedules and busy environments are just an absolute nightmare for me and really overwhelm me. And I think when we're highly sensitive people, we need to be quite picky with the jobs we choose and the environments we put ourselves in, because we just aren't going to cope if we're in a really stressful job or an environment that just goes against our nervous system. I know I've also been looking for some part-time work, so even in like a bookstore or like a library. A lot of people who are highly sensitive people like doing remote jobs and jobs where they just have a bit more autonomy. But this is a major struggle for me at the moment. I've got savings from my old job, but I'm really just trying to make something else because I can't handle a job that's just soul crushing in an office and doesn't have much meaning. So let me know if you're in a job as a highly sensitive person that you really like and you find is has the right stimulation for you. As highly sensitive people, we need to accept that a lot of us probably aren't cut out for full-time, long hours, and that we just can't deal with it. And that's absolutely okay. We can try and make a life around that. And I've also accepted as well that I might not be making loads of money as a highly sensitive person, and that's fine. I've gotten to the point where I want my wellness and mental health to be in check. I would rather sacrifice and be frugal than be constantly under pressure and stressed and overwhelmed. And that's something I've really had to come to terms with. I'm not materialistic, and I'm willing to cut costs in order to maintain my mental health. We have to reduce as much stimulation as possible as highly sensitive people. We need to realize that our bodies aren't meant for as much input as other people are. And this involves reducing the amount of crazy, chaotic environments environments that we spend our time in that are very crazy and chaotic, because we don't do very well with them. Even with, like, when I go shopping or I go to some kind of carnival or something, I really struggle with all the noise and stimulus and crowds of people. We need to realize that these places aren't for us and to just reduce them as much as possible. Obviously, sometimes we're going to have to go into these environments, but it's about having a balance and realizing that these places aren't for us and they're really going to take their toll on our nervous system. What I've found as well as a highly sensitive person, that screen time and social media is really detrimental to my well-being and mental health. I think the introduction of social media has been detrimental to the whole of society, but especially for highly sensitive people, this stuff is just so addictive and so stimulating that it drains you so bloody quickly. And I know it's so hard to get off of it because they're designed to keep you glued. They've got psychologists working in the background to make sure you're hooked on these apps. But I can notice such a big difference when I spend a lot of time in the day on my phone than when I don't. I just feel so drained and overstimulated, and you don't even realize, like, when you're clicking through these apps, there's so much stimulus hitting your face quickly, hitting your brain quickly. And I found that when I've taken my phone away or got someone to take it away from me, I'm so much calmer and more relaxed. It's something like a subtle shift that I didn't even think would make a difference, because it's so easy when you are overwhelmed to think, oh, I'll jump onto Netflix, I'll jump onto my phone, I'll jump onto YouTube because this is a way to relax. But it's just draining more and more energy, because there's so much stimulation that we're getting that we don't even really consciously realize. So one of the biggest things for me is limiting screen time, although I'm really struggling with this because I'm super addicted to my phone and YouTube. But for me right now, I'm really trying to reduce how much screen time I get because it's so draining. What's also helped me is having fewer commitments. I used to be someone who would try and cram everything into the same day, try to be as productive as possible, but realizing that you can't do it all, and if you do too much in the day as a highly sensitive person, your mental health is going to go down. You're going to be putting too much pressure on your nervous system. So at the moment, I'm really trying to do like 2 main things in the day and include a lot of downtime and calm time. So this might be, for example, today I wanted to film this video for you guys, and I have an appointment later on, and I also wanted to go to the gym in the morning, but I realized that if I went to the gym, it would probably be a bit too much for me, and I would probably be quite overwhelmed later. So I decided I might just go for a little walk later tonight and go to the gym tomorrow because I'm not filming a video. And this is what I mean, just saying no to commitments to leave more time for you to cope. Because if we do have too much going on, we will burn out. So it's realizing your limits and being able to say no to things, because we just have to protect our energy at all costs. It's also having boundaries with people, learning to say no to people when they want you to do something and you might be too busy and overwhelmed already. It's really important that we put on our gas mask first and look after our nervous system before we do things for other people. And sometimes it's about saying no to certain people when there's just too much going on. I'm also someone that craves deeper connections with people, and I find that I only need 1 or 2 close friends. And I think this is important for highly sensitive people. If we have loads of friends, we're gonna get too overwhelmed and it's too much to keep up with. So for me, I found just having a few friends that I'm close with and I can have deep relationships is much better. I think I would struggle a lot if I had loads of different friends and loads of relationships I was trying to keep up with. I think I would just burn out and it would drain a lot of energy. I know you might feel the same. You would rather have really close, deep friends than have superficial relationships where you don't really know each other. A lot of this comes down to just building a slower life. We really need our life to be slower and calmer than a lot of other people. And this involves having time for you just to sit and think, having time for you to go on walks in nature, having time just to get away from all that stimulation. What I found that really helps me is just sitting in nature with no stimulation and giving myself that space, even if it's for 15 to 30 minutes, just sitting there. And I don't know what it does to my brain, but I just feel like it's medicine. Just sitting there and listening to the birds, listening to the wind in the trees. It's so good for me. And I highly recommend it too, just giving yourself breaks away from all stimulation. It's almost like it allows your brain to just untangle all its thoughts, and it's like a massage for the brain, I find. And just spending time in nature, I mean, we are nature, and like I said earlier, it does feel sometimes that we're like a monkey that's been taken out of our natural habitat and put in this concrete society. And I don't know about you, but when I spend time in nature, it's like I'm finally home, and it does something to me. It just calms and settles me, and I think this is where we should be. So spending a lot of time in nature, I like to sit at the coast or sit in the woods or the bush and just be with nature without any stimulation. And I think us as highly sensitive people need this more than anyone, because it really grounds us, and just being connected to nature is the most calming, most relaxing thing you could do. Some people in our society are wired to live fast, but us as highly sensitive people are wired for depth, and we just can't keep up with those who live a fast-paced lifestyle. We are geared to a lifestyle that is a lot slower and a lot calmer, because if we try and keep up with these fast-paced people, we are just gonna burn out and we won't cope. We do terribly well with constant urgency. We need time to process things, we need time to think, and we really struggle with being always on. So realizing that this just isn't you is a big step into building in the direction of building a life that doesn't overwhelm you. We are not one of these fast-paced people. We are slower, calmer people, and we need to build a life that suits us. I hope some of this information has helped you guys today, but my biggest takeaway is let's not try and be someone we're not. Let's not try and force a life that isn't suited to us. Let's use our strengths and realize that we just are built a little bit different, and we do have so many strengths. Like I mentioned in the last video, you don't need to fix yourself. You're not broken. You just need to understand yourself and build a life around that. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys, and supporting me. I will see you in the next video. Please give me a comment and like the video if you've been enjoying them. Please give some advice in the comments for anyone else who's struggling as a highly sensitive person. And if you want any questions answered, or if you have any suggestions for other videos, please let me know.